أنت الحبيب المصطفى أنت الأمين يا خير خلق الله خير المرسلين
إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, in the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we are at a very, very important juncture. This juncture is where the battle of Badr al-Kubra, the major battle of Badr happened. And we discussed a little bit about why did the battle of Badr take place? Was it an offensive from the Muslims? No. In reality, it was going after a caravan that Abu Sufyan had, that had the money of Muslims in it, that had the wealth of Mecca in it. And the Muslims were, in fact, as the battles before it, only trying to stop the injustice of the people of Mecca and the aggression that the people of Mecca were carrying out against the Muslims. There are some other reasons. One, that it was an order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we'll see many ayat about Badr in the Qur'an itself. Another reason, to stop aggression. When we look at many of these battles where fighting doesn't even take place, the whole point is a show of force to stop aggression. Another point to understand is that Badr is to defend the properties and protect the mal of the Muslims. As you will see when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu addresses his son about the wealth of the Muslims that the people of Mecca, the kuffar, had stolen and were trading in Syria and using that wealth against the Muslims. And this is dhulm, this is oppression. And to stop the kuffar from further aggressing, from further reaching, for example, Medina, and attacking Medina as they planned on doing, and as you will see, they will try to do it even after Badr. To show the honor of Islam and to defend the Muslims in their honor. Because when the wealth of the Muslims is being taken and stolen in front of them, and being traded, going past Medina, and being brought back with the wealth passing Medina, the Arab tribes, they would look down upon the Muslims that they cannot even defend themselves. So here, the Muslims are showing that we are not weak. We are a people of peace, who love to live in peace. But don't push it, because we will defend ourselves. And that is Badr. In the battle, we were at the point where Hamza radiallahu anhu had fought Shayba, the kafir, and killed him. And Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu had fought Walid, the kafir, and killed him. And Ubaidah radiallahu anhu, who had been harmed, who had been cut, but Hamza radiallahu anhu again, he stepped in and killing the kafir, giving all three of the duels to the Muslims. Now, after this, the Quraysh, they started to send more. Al-Mubarak he says that there were many other such duels. What we do know is that the kuffar started to step up their attack. And if you think about it, after seeing them lose all three of the battles that took place one-on-one, what was the way of the Arab? Is if such a thing would happen, the army that lost all three would start to retreat. They would realize this day is not for us. But what happened? Kibr. The kibr of Abu Jahl. Abu Sufyan had already left. He had said, look, our money is safe, let's not push it. But Abu Jahl, he was mutakabbir, zalim. And you will see that whenever a country's leader is somebody that's filled with ego, somebody who's filled with pride, he leads the country to destruction. We have an election coming up, and Allah protect us. You see, whenever a nation, it gets led by somebody whose ego is more important to them than the benefit of their people, whether Muslim or Kafir. But this is an usul. You will see that that nation will be destroyed. So now you see, Abu Jahl, he didn't take the signs. There was a sign of the dream the woman had in Mecca. There is a sign of Abu Sufyan leaving. There is a sign of them losing the battle. He saw all of this. But because of his arrogance, he pushed the people of Mecca forward into this battle. Now while the situation on the ground is, there's both armies now meeting in a very strong way. And it's not duels anymore. The Meccans are aggressing. They're attacking. The Muslims are not. What did the Prophet ﷺ order the Muslims? It's very important. It's very important for us to understand these points, to understand how we should work as an ummah today, how our household should be run, how an Islamic government would be run. We have to learn from the seerah of Rasulullah ﷺ. So here Rasulullah ﷺ, he sees the people of Mecca are over 1,000 and the Muslims around 300. And he sees them attacking, but he doesn't run. The Muslim should always be brave. Know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is where our strength lies with. Don't look at numbers. He didn't run. Nor did he act in haste. You understand? Like some people, they get zealous. They're like, let's just attack. No. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used patience. He didn't run, but he formed the Sahaba into a defensive mode, where they were defending, not attacking. The Quraysh were attacking, the Sahaba were defending. And there is a lot of wisdom behind that. One of the points of wisdom there is that they were able to inflict heavier damage, because the one attacking is more vulnerable to the attack. He's not able to defend, so the Muslims were able to inflict heavier damage. But the more important point, a spiritual point, is that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was waiting for the nusrah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was waiting. So he told the Sahaba to be in a defensive layout, where they were laying out their arms in a defensive manner, defending against the attack. And what was the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam doing? He was making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What a beautiful thing. For the Prophet ﷺ, now this is also important for us to learn how to make the dua. What are the etiquettes used in making dua? Rasulullah ﷺ, he stood facing the Qibla. This is something mustahab to do in dua, is to face the Qibla. And he raised his hands. And regularly, this is mustahab, to raise the hands in dua. Now the fiqh of it should be understood in each time and place. Yani when the khatib is giving the khutbah, it is not from the sunnah to raise the hands. Rather the khatib should only raise the finger in making his dua during the khutbah. Even the people sitting and listening to the khutbah, we don't know from the salaf al-salihin, from the sahaba, to them to raise the hands during the dua. Instead, they would just supplicate. There is dua within the salah, but you don't raise your hands unless it's in qunut. In qunut, Umar bin Khattab, he raised the hand. So now we know what is the sunnah for that dua. Everything in its place. But regularly, if you want to just get up and make dua, it is mustahab. You face the qibla, you raise the hands. As we know from the hadith in Sahih Muslim, hadith number 1763. It's also reported in Abu Dawud, in Tirmidhi, in the Musnad Imam Ahmad. Obviously a Sahih hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he started to make dua so much so that he raised his hands, that his shawl, you know the sadar shawl that we have, his shawl, it fell off his shoulders from him making dua and crying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he was asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma in tuhlik hadhihi al-isaba al-yawm lan ya'bad fi lan ta'bada. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fil ard ba'da. SubhanAllah, he's making dua, oh Allah, that if you let this ummah, this nation be destroyed today, there will be no one to worship you on the earth tomorrow or after now. SubhanAllah, he's not saying, oh Allah, what about our children, what about our wealth? No, he's saying we want people on earth worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he's telling you a very important principle, that this battle of Badr was not because of nationalism. It was not over wealth. It was not over the goods. It was not over Medina versus Mecca or Muhajirin versus something or the in battle between Quraysh. It was only for the people to be able to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the niyyah. Malaika will come in this battle. You know, one of the scholars, he was asked about the 6-day war. You know about the 6-day war? It was all the Arab nations against Israel when Israel was trying to form as a Zionist state. They didn't call it jihad, they didn't say the Muslim ummah, they didn't say we want to fight for la ilaha illallah, but they said this is Arab land. So Arab countries would come together under pan-Arabism and they would fight for Arab nationalism. What happened? In 6 days they lost. Horribly. Really bad. One of the ulama, he was asked, somebody asked him, what happened to those malaika that were there in Badr? How come they didn't come? That alim, he gave kind of a funny answer. Some of the ulama of Egypt, they have a good way of making things easy when they explain. He said, the malaika came, but they didn't know which side was the Muslims. So they didn't know which side to go to. Because your dress was like their dress, and your actions were like their actions, so who would they go to? Very important point. Which is, if we fight for nationalism, if we fight because we're Afghan, because we're Arab, because we're Pakistani, because we're Somali, because we're Dawood or Arumu, or because we are any nation, if we fight for nationalism, you're going to lose. No nusra from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even today we see some people say, oh, this issue is an Arab issue and a Muslim issue. Oh, so it's an Arab issue and also a Muslim issue. No. Our fight has to be only for La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't say, oh Allah, the Quraysh will be victorious over us. Oh Allah, what will the Arab do? Or what will our land do? No. He said, if you let us be destroyed today, if we lose, who will worship you on the earth? And we see that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he increased his dua, crying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, raising his hand, until his shawl, it fell off. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he came, he picked up the shawl, put it back on the shoulders of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he told him, O Messenger of Allah, you have called to your Rabb enough, that wallahi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will fulfill his promise to you. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to make him victorious. Here, while Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is making this dua, the Quraysh, they are moving in their attack. And they're starting to make Sahaba shaheed. Yani their Sahaba were becoming shaheed. The Quraysh were being killed as well. But the first person who became shaheed in Badr, the first shaheed in Badr. If we talk about the first shaheed for Islam, then we talk about Sumayya radiallahu anha that was killed in Mecca. And then Yasir radiallahu anhu, her husband, who was made shaheed in Mecca. Ammar radiallahu anhu's parents radiallahu anhu. But if we talk about the first shaheed in a battle, in the battle of Badr, who was it? Anybody? We talked about Ubaidah radiallahu anhu. He was harmed during his duel. But he didn't die yet. He died days later. He became shaheed days later. So it wasn't him. The first one to be harmed was Ubaidah radiallahu anhu. But the first one to become shaheed was the Mawla of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, Mihja. Mihja radiallahu anhu, Mihja bin Salih al-Aq'i. He was a freed slave. Somebody who used to be a slave, Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, Umar radiallahu anhu freed him. And he was the first one to actually become shaheed in the battle of Badr. The first Muslim to become shaheed during a battle. And none of us even know his name. How sad is our knowledge of Islam. He became shaheed, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling the Sahaba, still be patient. He's making dua. And at that time, as has been mentioned in numerous Sahih ahadith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered the dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And He put a calmness upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now imagine, there is battle, people are dying, people are fighting, And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is overtaken with tranquility to the level that he falls asleep, he dozes off. And then he raises his head, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he tells Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu that Abshir, glad tidings, Ya Aba Bakr, Abu Bakr, Ata Nasrullah wa hadith Jibreel. Yani the Nasr from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has come, and this is Jibreel upon his horse, and I see him coming. Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, he's coming. Imagine. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he sees this, he physically sees the nusra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he orders the Sahaba radiallahu anhu, now attack. Because the nusra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is here. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as mentioned by many of the ulama of Tariq, and this is Sahih, the authentic chain, he took some dust and he blew it towards the kuffar, in the direction of the Quraysh. And he said, confusion, disarray may seize their faces. He threw just a handful of dust and it turned into a dust storm, a violent dust storm. Imam al-Bayhaqi, he mentioned this amongst the miracles of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imagine you take a handful of dust, what's it going to do? Nothing. But with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it turned into a violent sandstorm. And as mentioned by Ibn Ishaq, Ibn Hisham, and the ulama of Tariq, that it would pelt the eyes of the kuffar. It would burn their eyes, it would burn their faces. And you saw the Quraysh, 1,000 strong, going back in confusion. And at this time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that it wasn't you that threw it. It was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To show that it wasn't the strength of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, rather it was the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam is coming himself with 1,000 angels. This is confirmed in the Qur'an and Sahih Ahadith. There is no doubt about this. And they didn't come all at once. Rather, they were coming in bands, in groups. And there's a lot of hikmah here. Why? Because one, to show the Sahaba that it's not a one-time thing. They're coming and they're coming and they're coming to show us strength. And to let us know too that those malaika are still there. That help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is still there. It will come in waves after waves whenever needed. And the malaika now they're coming with Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam. And this is something that we'll talk about the help. But we don't want to take away from the zeal and the valor of the Sahaba radiallahu anhu. And I will mention some of the authentic narrations. I'm not going to mention the weak narrations, only the sahih ones. One of the Sahaba, his name is Umair ibn Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu. He is the younger brother of Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu. An amazing Sahaba. He was very young. So young that when he was in the ranks of the Sahaba, he was hiding. Imagine for the young brothers here, pay attention. He's hiding. Why is he hiding? Because he wants to go out to fight for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he knows that he's so young that if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sees him, he will not let him go. But he wants to go. He wants to become shaheed for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He wants to defend Islam. So he's going and he's hiding. When the Prophet ﷺ saw him, the Prophet ﷺ called him. So then he's too young, you don't have to go. He starts to cry. He's not crying because he's not getting a video game, or because he doesn't get a gift, or because he wants wealth, or because he wants to stay home. No, he's crying because he wants to go out and fight for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Until Rasulullah ﷺ sees his valor, he lets him go. Many of the ulama, they discuss his age. Some of them said he didn't even reach bulugh. He was so young. And he goes out and he becomes shaheed for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Abdurrahman bin Auf radiallahu anhu says that he was so young that he couldn't hold his sword. His sword was too heavy for him. He said even when I would tie it to his belt, it would make him go down. So I had to tie many knots just so he could carry his sword. At that young age, he had that dedication for Islam. There is another Sahabi, Umair ibn Hammam radiallahu anhu. Another Umayr. He was also very young. Some of the Sahabas, some of the scholars said around 15 to 16 years of age. And Shaykh Mubarak Puri in the Rahiq al-Maktoum, he says 16 years of age. Very young Sahaba. He is sitting there at the time when Badr is beginning. Badr is just about to begin. At that time where the kuffar are in their strength, they're attacking. He has some dates. He asks, if I go and fight, and I become shaheed today, where will I be? He's told you will be in Al-Jannah. You will be in Al-Jannah. He's eating dates. He says, these dates are between me and Jannah. He throws the dates. And he runs out in the thick of the battle while the kuffar, the Quraysh attack is at its peak, and he goes and he fights until he becomes shaheed. So these Sahaba, radiallahu anhum, they were fighting with great zeal, with great honor, with love for Allah and the religion. But we also want to know that did they win because they were like supermen, because they were really strong, because they're really good fighters? No. It was because of the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We talked about the ayat of Qur'an that mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent malaika at Badr. We talked about the Sahih Ahadith where Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saw the malaika. But we were going to show even more proof that shows that malaika actually fought in Badr. We have the hadith in Sahih Muslim where Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he's also very young at this time. He said, I was going after one of the mushrikeen, but I heard a whip. You know when a rider is riding a horse and he whips to make it go faster? He said, I heard a whip, but I couldn't see any whip. I heard a whip, but I couldn't see anybody. And I heard a rider call out, go ahead, O Khayzoom, Ya Khayzoom, go ahead into the battle. He says, I couldn't see anybody, but I heard this whip, and when I looked, that mushrik was already tied up. SubhanAllah. And Ansari, he went back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's a Sahih hadith. He tells Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about this. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam confirms this. And Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu confirms this. And that mushrik who's not even Muslim, he himself confirms this. If we look at a historical analysis, this is not just confirmed from a Muslim perspective, but even that mushrik confirms that I heard that sound, and I heard that whip, and I heard that rider, and I was tied up out of nowhere. It was not Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu who tied me up. I heard this and I was tied up. The mushrik himself confirmed this. Then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he confirms, he says that this was a malik, an angel from the third sama. The Prophet ﷺ even gives that detail, that this was an angel from the third sama that was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another hadith. Now, Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, at this time, he's a Muslim. Some of the ulama, they said maybe he wasn't a Muslim yet, but the correct opinion is that he was a Muslim. But he was a Muslim in secret. He was still with the Quraysh because he was a spy for the Prophet ﷺ. So here the Prophet ﷺ knows that he's a Muslim, but the Sahaba don't even know this. It's a very important strategy to understand. When we talk about battles and wars, it's not just grab a sword or a gun and jump. No, there is strategy. Now the Prophet ﷺ, he knows that Abbas radiallahu anhu is a Muslim, but he leaves him with the Quraysh to get the news from the Quraysh and get it to the Prophet ﷺ. Now he tells the Sahaba, if you see Abbas, my uncle, don't kill him. Capture him, but don't kill him. And he mentions some other of the Quraysh for very valid reasons. One of the Ansar, he doesn't know. Now this also tells you that you don't have to tell everybody everything. The way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is he tells people what they need to know. In things of battle, don't just blab your mouth. You know, a lot of people talk because they're not doers. So when Rasulullah knows that it's not the time and place, he doesn't tell the Sahaba. Because the news reaches the Quraysh, they will kill Abbas radiallahu anhu. So now he's telling the Sahaba, don't kill my Uncle Abbas. One of the Ansar, he becomes upset. He thinks that this is favorism. Na'udhu billah. Sometimes there's hikam. There's wisdom that a leader uses that people don't understand. And they think, it's nationalism, it's favoritism. But there is wisdom you don't understand. He tells the Prophet ﷺ that we will kill our uncles and our family members, but not yours. SubhanAllah. Now look at this. Rasulullah ﷺ now, even though his honor is being challenged, he doesn't say, it's because he's Muslim. No. He holds his ground. And he turns to Umar radiallahu anhu and he says, is this appropriate? Do you think this? Umar radiallahu anhu, he gets upset. He wants to kill this Ansari. But Rasulullah tells him, no, be patient. He doesn't allow it. Because he knows that the Ansari is also sincere. He just doesn't know yet. And what does that teach us as a ummah? That sometimes when you have a good leader, a just leader, he may make some decisions that you don't understand. But know that there is benefit in obeying. So here the Sahaba, they obey. Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib, he says that during the battle, I was trying to avoid the Muslims because I was Muslim. So I was trying not to engage. But at the same time, I didn't want the Quraysh to know that I was on the side of the Muslims. Abbas ibn himself, he says this. He goes, then a Malik came, an angel came, and I saw him. He had a very handsome face. He came in the face of a human. But I saw him and he tied me up. And then a weak old man from the Ansar, he came and he captured me. I was already tied up. And he took me to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when he came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that I tied this man, Abbas. I captured him. So Abbas again tells him, you didn't capture me. To be honest with you, old weak man, if I wanted, I could have escaped you. You didn't capture me. But the one that captured me, he describes him and tells the Prophet ﷺ that he's not amongst your men. That he was not from amongst you. He was an angel. Abbas again also confirmed this. And he is captured. And Rasulullah ﷺ, then he tells that Ansari, that verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has helped you bil malaki al-kareem, yani with a good, a pious, a wonderful angel. Allah has sent an angel to aid you, to help you. Now, as Ibn Ishaq mentions and Ibn Hisham confirms with authentic narration, that Iblis had been with the Quraysh, and we discussed this earlier, in the form of Suraqa ibn Malik. He had come in the form of a man. Suraqa ibn Malik himself says that it wasn't me. Later on when he's asked, he says it wasn't me. But Iblis was there in his shape. And the Malaika also came in the shape of humans. So when Iblis, he saw the Malaika, and he realized they were Malaika, and he realized the Quraysh are going to lose now, he ran. Iblis has no power except as a test. Don't fear Iblis so much. Fear his tricks. Ask Allah for refuge from his tricks, but don't think he can battle Allah. Na'udhu billah. He's only a weak slave of Allah and he knows it. So Iblis, when he sees this, he starts to run. The Quraysh are begging him, why are you running? We're with you. He runs into the water. As some of the historians say, the Quraysh at that time realized that this was not Suraqa bin Malik because he's going and treading in water. And humans can walk on water. Suraqa bin Malik wasn't some kind of miracle man. So even the Quraysh realized that this was Iblis now. Iblis ran away and the Quraysh are now losing. 140 of the kuffar are taken. 70 killed and 70 captured. And 70 killed, many of the ulama said they were all killed by Malaika at this first stage. Now one of the ones that was killed by the Sahaba, not by the Malaika, and is a very, very important person for the Quraysh, the great enemy of Islam, the Fir'aun of this ummah, Abu Jahl. Abu Jahl, he was one of the greatest enemies of Islam, a very strong warrior from the Quraysh. And he was a great motivating force for the Quraysh. When the Quraysh would start to run, he would bring the idols and he would tell them and he would encourage them to go fight. And it was his kibr that got them into Badr to begin with. And we talked about him in Makkah. In the earlier series, when we talked about him in Makkah and how he humiliated the Prophet ﷺ, how he tortured the Muslims, you know that he was an evil man. So two young Sahaba, two young men, young boys, they made their aim to kill Abu Jahl. Abdurrahman bin Auf radiallahu anhu mentions the hadith. And it's mentioned in Sahih Muslim, hadith number 4341. Longer versions are mentioned by Imam Ahmad in his Musnad, but it's a Sahih hadith. Abdurrahman bin Auf radiallahu anhu says that I was in Badr and I saw on my side two very young boys. And I thought to myself that I wish I had some strong men. You know, when you're in a battle, you want to have strong men around you. He said, these young boys aren't even of age. They don't have experience in war. What am I going to do with them? When one of them, he whispered to me, he said, my uncle. And he with politeness, he says, uncle, where is Abu Jahl? Abdurrahman bin Auf radiallahu, he tells him, what do you want to do with Abu Jahl? You know, Abu Jahl, he's on a horse for sun. It's very difficult for somebody on foot. And he's an experienced warrior. Many battles, and strong, and a leader of Quraysh, guarded by Quraysh. His son Ikramah is always around him and others. There's no way you're going to be able to do anything. What do you want to do with him? They said, Wallahi, we've heard they're Ansari. Most of them, they didn't even know him. They didn't know what he looks like. They didn't have any personal beef with him. They didn't have any personal problem with him. So why do they want to fight him? They said, Wallahi, we heard that he gave problems to our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So out of that love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we want to kill him. SubhanAllah, two young men putting their life at risk for a man they've never seen. Look at their love for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Today, where is our love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So they tell Abdurrahman bin Auf radiallahu, just show us where he is. Abdurrahman bin Auf radiallahu sees him. He sees him on his horse, guarded. But he decides to tell them, he tells them, young boys, your goal is right there. That's your goal. That's him. They see him, they dart. Young men, they dart. They're not afraid. They dart towards him. They attack. One of them attacks the leg of the horse of Abu Jahl, dropping. He drops, they attack Abu Jahl. Two young kids, they attack Abu Jahl. The son of Abu Jahl, Ikramah. He sees this, he hits Mu'ad. These two young men, one of them is Mu'ad, the other is Mu'awwad. Mu'ad and Mu'awwad, radiallahu anhum. Both Ansari. Mu'ad bin Amr bin Jamu', we discussed about him earlier as well. And Mu'awwad, radiallahu anhu, both from Ansar. They drop him, they get their swords, they're attacking him. Ikramah, he attacks Mu'ad ibn Amr ibn Jamu', he cuts off his arm. Imagine now, those of you young guys sitting here, when you get a little cut in your finger and you start crying to mommy, think about this. His arm is cut, he's a young boy, and now it's cut so bad, it's dangling. It's hanging. Blood is squirting out. What does he do? Run away, start screaming, freak out, cry in a corner. Come on. Even the grown brothers, imagine you in that state. The arms cut off, you're bleeding like a Japanese anime, your hands dangling. What does he do? SubhanAllah, he steps on his arm, rips it off, and continues fighting for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the real supermen. These are the real heroes of Islam. These are the people you look up to. He rips off his own arm. This is history. These are authentic ahadith. This is documented history. He continues fighting for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What are those fake Romans and Greeks in their little dresses? What warriors are those? Alexander and Mongols? Nothing. These are men. They continue fighting for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Abu Jahl is dropped, Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu comes and chops off his head. ends this tyrant, this zalim's life in dunya, sends him to hell. And here we see the valor of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum in this battle. And at this juncture, we will stop, inshallah, till next week. Jazakumullahu khairan.
ففروا